Welcome in to the Real Spiel Podcast Postgame Show, coming to you on the 26th day of 2026 here following Louisville's loss to Duke 83-52. I'm your host, Roman Kelly, joined today by my co-host, Madison, a.k.a. Mads. Cards disappointing us. Pat Kelsey ultimately not getting the job done in this game at all after what looked like a promising start for a game in Cameron Indoor, a game in which you knew was going to be tough. The home crowd was going to be loud, and you already had the task at hand with trying to go out there and defend a team with your lack of size and your lack of a Kanai Roos as well.
Exactly.
And then the lack of, the ability to play Case and Pryor, it seems, which we're going to be getting into here as well today. But, Mads, before we do get into that, I want to let the listeners know, if they are joining in currently right now, Madison, new member to the Real Spiel Podcast team, joining us. She will be doing some Louisville-centric stuff to start off her time here with the Real Spiel Podcast, getting into some post-game stuff, maybe even some watch-along stuff as well. Got a cool, interesting post-game plan going forward for some basketball games where, interview-esque basis to get the thoughts out there, but also keep it clean and organized, but also entertaining as well. I think you guys will be very, very fond of what we have in the works for Madison and the Real Spiel Podcast going forward, and myself as well. I will be joining her on this new journey, this new little branch off endeavor on the podcast. But Mads, appreciate you coming on, appreciate you being a part of the team and now a part of this new, game day-esque based show that we're going to be doing. Sucks that it has to come. The start has to come after this, but I want you to kind of talk about how you're feeling right now after what you just watched, what you're now seeing all the reactions to, the fans, the casuals, the media people, the stat guys, after everything you've kind of seen and gotten to dwell on now after this loss. How are you feeling just overall about where the Cards are standing?
I think it's hard to not be disappointed, but I also try to keep things in perspective, like with as far as being patient and like trying to remember we're not even 2 full seasons in yet, 2 full unhealthy seasons on top of that, which, I mean, injuries are a part of it. And I mean, people have talked about, it seems like ad nauseum, the roster construction, especially when we get against teams that have a lot of size and a lot of physicality to go with that size. And that is an issue, but we're about to hit February now. So, I mean, talking about roster construction at this point, it's like, what are you going to do with the guys that you have on your roster? I think that we're better than we showed tonight.
It's like Jeff Brom saying we got to learn and get better after 10th game of the season.
Exactly. It's especially when you build a team from the transfer portal out of guys that are seniors, out of guys that are like Frew and stuff like that are grown men already that have played against adults that are from the professional, leagues. You don't have, growing pains really with guys like that. At least you don't think you're going to have to experience that. Now, obviously teams have to come together and gel and stuff like that. You've got that kind of thing, but we're almost to February again. So, I mean, even with injuries, it's like you watch against Virginia Tech and you see what could be. And now granted, Virginia Tech is not Duke, but at the same time, it's like you see these improvements, and then in a loss like this and in the losses that we've had this year, it's like everything good just goes out the window, and it's kind of inexplicable. And so I understand where some people get um, a little bit concerned or whatever. But again, I tend to think it's a little bit too early. It's difficult, when you hire a coach from the lower level. You're going to take some lumps, and I also kind of feel like I've said this. I've said this last year when we lost to Duke. I said it earlier in the season when we lost. I think John Shire may have Pat Kelsey's number, kind of like Cal had Rick's number all those years. It just feels like Shire has an adjustment to everything that Pat Kelsey tries to do and tries to throw at him. But I mean, sometimes that just is what happens. But yeah, I mean, a lot of talking heads. A lot of people want to say a lot of stuff, but the losses, they are a common theme. But again, I kind of feel like, maybe next year, if you want to, compare it to football, it's like we were disappointed with how this season ended. And we were talking about, oh, Jeff Brom, he seems to be a little stubborn. He seems to be, this or that. And now all of a sudden we're on a roll, bringing in a
Yeah.
bunch of guys that seem to fit the mold of what we were promised,
Yeah.
So I think, it could be the same with PK. What can you do, this year on the recruiting
Yeah.
trail? Who are you going to bring in? And then if in year 3 we're seeing the same exact issues, then it's like, okay, we haven't learned anything. So
Yeah.
first year obviously is a learning year, but that's also kind of your grace year, your gap year. This is the first year where you've got some expectations on you, and so far you're not really living up to them. But again, I kind of personally still think it's too early to be trying to say he's on any kind of hot seat or anything like that. I think it's kind of hampered by. I mean, we could talk about Cason Pryor. I have no idea why he's not playing if he's not listed on an injury report. I mean, even if you want to put him on an injury report and say mental health issues or whatever he's got going on, if it's because they didn't even say he had a setback in practice. They didn't say anything like that. He'd just been on the bench for no reason, with no explanation, and he may only be.
Hold on, Mads. I just lost you. Hold on, Mads. I just lost you. Hold on, Mads. 1 second, Mads. 1 second, Mads. I just lost you. I lost the audio there. What is going on here? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mads? I don't know what is going on here. We are having a technical difficulty. Trevor, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I couldn't hear her. That's why I jumped out and jumped back in. I thought that was me, but I guess I'm not the only one.
Mads, we lost your last point there. Okay, you can't hear. Okay. Mads is saying she can't hear. Mads, drop out and rejoin. Okay, she can't hear us. Trevor, welcome into the show. The Real Spiel Podcast
Do we need
Postgame
one of
Show.
those sign language people from the press conferences for like the political press conferences because no one can hear, she can't hear.
Yeah, Trevor, just get into how you're feeling about where Louisville stands right now following this loss.
I don't know, like they just woke up from in the dumpster of a backwards alley in New Orleans after the Final Four game in 2014, which is what happened to my friend. Yeah, it was an ass kicking, dude. I mean, we can be technical about shit, break stuff down play by play, but the bottom line, to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin, is Duke. This was a game where Duke said, "You're not sitting at the grown-ups table just yet. Get your ass back to the kids' table. You don't get your whole role at Thanksgiving." And that's what they did to us. I mean, they just pretty much just pummeled us and had their way with us. Louisville looked scared playing from the beginning. They looked. I don't know if it was just. I don't know if they're just unprepared or what. This is a game though that I just kind of want to be like, feed me drugs and alcohol and let me forget about it. And let's move on with life, and just not even remember it ever again. It's just like, if it's brought up in therapy at some point, sure, that's great down the road. But other than that, this game didn't. I just don't want this game to exist to me ever again in life. And I think that's just the best way to do it. Louisville just looked like shit. They just did play flat out poorly. They played soft. I talked about in a little pregame thing with Rashawn. Do not give them second, third, and fourth opportunities. Clearly, Frew has no idea what it is to grab a basketball. And you saw Duke multiple times getting multiple opportunities. They killed us again, Louisville, them being us on the boards, in the paint, and just treated us like Billy Madison did the third graders at recess.
Yeah, pretty much doubled us, nearly doubled us up on the boards. It was.
That was Duke. The Duke was like, listen, we're a Final Four team. You want to be a Final Four team? Step up. And we came in
They
there
had
and we're
15
like, sir, please
offensive rebounds.
Don't smack me. And he pimped us around and threw us against the wall and did all that shit.
15 offensive rebounds. There was a point in the game not early, even in the first half, about halfway. It was even. It was an evenly matched 19-19 on the rebounds. I thought I saw Kelly Dickey tweet out, which, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I do know what happened. We lost our edge defensively. We lost our edge with our aggression. We lost our edge with the overall effort level. And in the second half, they came out and they completely adjusted with their ability to get to the glass and generate open looks. And we just didn't combat that. We combated that with pass, dribble, three. And
right.
That's not ever going to beat a team that has this kind of defensive ability and size. And another tough aspect of this is Evans. He had his 13 points in the first half, and that did get them that cushion and that edge. He wasn't the one that came out and beat you in the second half. That's not you adjusted on one person and you let somebody else beat you. And you don't have the ability to adjust in game with Pat Kelsey. It starts to feel like with these kinds of big marquee matchup opponents, he I think has a game plan he thinks will work because he's seen it work in a handful of possessions out there. Now it's only a matter of these guys going out there and finding the ways to make it happen each and every time down, because we know we know we can get offensive rebounds on this team. We know we can get stops against this team. We know we can force Booker into long threes and more advantageous shots for us that lead to better rebounds and better transition moments and all that, because it happened. Sometimes you have to change it still. Sometimes you have to adjust still. Sometimes you've got to go with unorthodox lineups. Sometimes you have to go and do unorthodox things out there. And when we get down, Mads, Trevor, we don't do those things, and it's tough. It's tough because we also get out of our offensive game planning. The shot selection starts to change, and you can't see that. You see other good teams in college basketball. They get down 5 or 6. You know what they do? They start getting to the free throw line. Every player that has the ability to do so, that's what they do. Let's slow this game down. Let's make the clock something to our advantage here by stopping it and getting points still every time down. Let's find the best matchup possible to exploit this. And other teams, they have the ability to go to their big down low and make that something that they can do. We don't do that. In the moments Frew gets the ball in those situations where it's the ball stops with him. If the ball stops with Frew, you don't want it. You want Frew catching the ball while he is in motion and the basketball is in motion. That's when you get something good. When Frew is not moving and the ball is not moving and it's in his hands, unless it's out on the top of the key on a handoff where he's going to be screening immediately, you don't really want that to be happening out there. And too many moments like that where Frew's just not able to create absolutely anything. And it's tough. It's tough. Zugris comes in. I thought the effort was good, but Zugris isn't good enough in this kind of game to truly play. And without a Kenai Roos as an option out there when we're trying to be a defense that can switch on the perimeter, and you're switching with Javon Hadley off of a guy to Isaac McNeely or Ryan Conwell, it's just different. It's different when a Kaysen Pryor or a Kenai Roos gets to switch, or even I guess there's not really a situation that we get to point at, but when Sonny Frew's even out there switching, you like that. And Mbonga's not the kind of guy that's coming out there and fading after the screen, so Frew has to stay with him. We don't get that defensive edge with the Kenai Roos, and our guards just don't have that. right? This is a team that is prided itself on offense. And when the offense isn't clicking, Trevor, what do you do? Because Louisville doesn't do hardly anything.
Well, if you're Louisville, you need Mikael Brown to be more aggressive and not play the way he played tonight. I mean, he was. I don't know if it was just
1 for 13 from
on
the
road.
field.
Well, the shots it's not even just the shots of the 118. The shots taken. I mean, he was obviously somebody did not want to be aggressive, and for this team to be at its peak offensively, he's the only one you mentioned about getting to the free throw line. He's the only one that we have on the team that can do this. This is a jump shooting team, and in basketball, if you're a jump shooting team, you're less likely to go to the free throw line unless you're kicking your leg out like some players do. But that's not here nor there. But and Louisville, unfortunately, doesn't do that. And without Brown, and we talked about this on the show pre-show, is that you need him to be able to penetrate and get in there and collapse the defense, get the defense chasing the ball, and getting the guys the best looks they can possible. And he just wasn't able to do that. Duke did a great job of hedging off all this. Every time they tried to screen for him and get him in motion, Duke did an excellent job of pushing him back out. And we did try to go one-on-one. He more often than not settled for bad shots. I mean, occasionally he went to the line, I think a few times, and was aggressive every now and then, but unfortunately it was just few and not far between. And if that's the case, then Louisville might as well be the offense it was without him out there. And that's not as good a Louisville offense as you want. Because other guys, I mean, Combo can kind of create a little bit, but not really. I mean, he can to a degree. He's the second best guy we have that could. And you saw him, he had the nice little move, I think, at one point in the first half, right before the shot clock. But McNeely's a guy that has to be a spot shooter. Frew is the guy that if you're looking to create anything, you're going to be witching in one hand and shitting in the other, and see which fills up first, because he ain't going to create shit. He's gonna be the nice recipient of a play. He's gonna be taking care of getting alley oops and getting open looks because of guys like Brown and sometimes Ryan. But short of that, I mean, yeah, there's no one else. Even if Bruce is healthy, he's still not a guy that really can create. It all starts with Brown, and when he has a game like he did tonight against a good Duke team on the road, I mean, I hope not to lose by 30, but you're probably gonna lose by double digits and most likely 15 or 20. So
Completely
that's
right.
kind of what happens when, again, Louisville came in and did not play like a big boy. They deserve to sit at the kids' table right now.
You're right. They did. And Michael Brown, the shot selection, he got to be more aggressive earlier on. I think he did a good job of trying to set his teammates up early. But when the game starts to go south, you have got to continue getting to the free throw line as much as you possibly can. They played him tough. They played him aggressively, but that's no excuse. We've got Rashawn Myers joining us as well here on the Real Spiel Podcast post-game show. Rashawn, host of the Wake Up 502 radio show from 9 to 11 a.m. every Saturday morning on the Big X Sports Radio. Mads, before we get Rashawn's take on what went wrong for Louisville and get his opinion on what I'm about to ask you right now, I want to ask you what going forward, what does Pat Kelsey need to do differently? If there is something, if there's something you can look at with this roster, there's no Kenai Roos out there, and that is a major, major factor, at least with minutes, right? You've got certain guys playing a lot. Ryan Comel, 37 minutes. That's a long night for anybody. That's a lot of minutes, right? You see 34 minutes from Michael Brown Jr. in his second game back. You've got Isaac McNeely playing 30 minutes, Javon Hadley playing 30 minutes, Sananda Fruit playing 25, Adrian Woolley playing 23. I mean, Zugris played 10 because he has to. Ali Khalifa played 11. I felt like the foul trouble with Ali kind of, a couple of fouls for Ali that I didn't agree with, but it's just part of it. Ali, they were kind of make sure he didn't get into later foul trouble. And then at a certain point, Ali's just not doing much for you. He can't spend too much time out there. Mads, is there something Pat Kelsey can do differently with the guys he's got in the way that they've been playing in these kinds of moments? Or do you think that this is a team that we need to adjust the expectation on in March and adjust just how much we should be able to think that this team's going to go and beat a big team?
I don't know if it's necessarily like changing up exactly what you're doing as much as it is like we've talked about rotations and different things and like who you have in the game. And like who you put in at certain times and who you're putting in to try to match up. Because, like we have a lack of size, so it's a little bit hard. But at the same time, we talked about Kaysen Pryor. He's 6'10", 250. Why is he on the bench? And you've got Isaac McNeely switching off on Dame Sarr. Like that, literally, it's just inexplicable. It's like, well, we watched in Tennessee when he was trying to guard Nate Ament. Like, you might as well have nobody out there at that point. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I've said for a long time, I've been of the opinion Isaac McNeely needs to be the sixth man. He's a spot shooter. I think he can shoot very well. Like, he can get hot, but he's not Rain Smith. Rain Smith could come around and be fading or kind of falling to the side or not really have his feet set and still make them. It's looking more and more like if McNeely doesn't have that clean look at the rim with his feet set, that he's not going to make it in. So I think move McNeely to the bench. I mean, if you're going to start three guards and insistent on having Hadley at the 4, start Adrian Woolley. At least he'll try to get to the free throw line. He plays defense. He may get called for some fouls every now and then, but he plays defense. He rebounds the basketball. And that was the biggest thing tonight. 15 offensive rebounds. You're talking about Zugris. So many times he defended Boozer so well and forced Boozer into misses. And then, it was just like, oh, offensive rebound, put back, offensive rebound, put back, so
the
you don't
offensive
waste
rebounds
that
were
defense.
terrible.
Like, why are you wasting that defense? And there were so many times in the first half that they looked timid, that they looked just like there was a time I thought Javon Hadley had a perfect opportunity for a transition bucket and just didn't take it. There were some open shots that we didn't take. I thought there were some times that Michael could have tried to, put up a little floater or something or get further in the lane and didn't do it. It's just certain things that we kind of did to ourselves. So I think for the rest of the year, I do want to see more of the 2 big lineup. I do like the 2 big lineup. I think that's kind of a new wrinkle. I would appreciate a little more zone defense. Who knows if he's going to do it or not? We talked a little bit about that, about the stubbornness angle, and maybe that's something. Maybe there's something to that. I at least would like for him to say something about Kason Pryor if he's not going to play at all the rest of the year. But yeah, I think I want to see McNeely come off the bench. I want to see more of that two big lineup. And I think if you mixed in a little bit of zone, especially without Kanai, I think that would help tremendously. But it's what's really disappointing is it wasn't just like tonight wasn't just schematics and stuff. It was like things we were in every loss, careless turnovers, chucking threes when you should be driving to the basket when you've got
12 turnovers.
When you've got 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, I know we're supposed to be a fast-paced offense, but you're also supposed to be an offense that is able to kind of adjust to what is going on in game and be able to adjust to defenses and not the other way around. And that just hasn't been the case against the best teams. It's like we just play right into their hands.
Yep.
And that's kind of what's disappointing. But yeah, I think that's the best kind of case scenario forward.
I'm with you there. One thing, Rashawn, I want to ask you, what went wrong in this one for Louisville? And what I just asked Mads, what do you think Pat Kelsey and these guys are going to have to do differently to go and potentially get some wins down the line against good quality opponents? Before you answer, though, I want to take a quick note. If you just look on the screen, Rashawn, Mads, Trevor, 4 for 14 on layups. That's something I think needs to be an emphasis going forward. You can't be shooting only threes and only layups when you're shooting 4 for 14 on your layups and 11 for 20, 30, 34 on your threes, which isn't terrible. It's not good, Maybe start doing something different than the 2, like a lot more free throws if you can get them and some shots that are in between there. But Rashawn, what went wrong tonight? 83-52. We haven't seen a losing deficit like this in the Pat Kelsey era yet. 1 for 13 from the field, Michael Brown Jr., 12 turnovers, however many offensive rebounds we allowed. What do you think ultimately was the biggest issue for tonight, and what do you think needs to be the biggest flip or the biggest change going forward, in particular against these kinds of opponents?
Yeah, it's funny because when I look at this game, my prediction before the game started was a final score of 82-78. So Duke pretty much got to where I expected to where they would before the game. I don't think necessarily that Louisville's defense was horrible tonight. I felt that Duke would have a bit of advantage on the interior. I think this game simply comes down to Louisville just not being able to generate any easy buckets. when you have to get all of your offense. I mean, you're talking about all but 10 of your points being generated from either the 3-point line or the free throw line. Like, you can't win only hitting 5 2-point buckets. And this is not something new. This is something that we saw Duke pretty much started the game with the game plan that they started the second half of the first time they played in this one. They crowded the post players at the 3-point line, so Ali or Sananda couldn't line up any easy 3-point shots. They were very physical at the point of attack on the ball handlers, and they just continually threw the ball into the post. I mean, this was something that everybody who watched the first game figured would happen this second time. The biggest thing for me and the biggest disappointment for me is that we saw pretty much no adjustments from the coaching staff going from the first game to the second game. And, even so much so to say that they almost doubled down on insisting that they were going to play as small as humanly possible, even putting Zoo at the 5 for long stretches when you're just getting murdered in the paint. And I don't understand what they thought was going to change by going smaller. I just
What did you think about the lineup where we literally had Kell, Conwell, McNeely, Woolley, and Zugris?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are we doing with
I,
4 guards and Zugris
I
out
just
there?
don't understand what that was going like. Okay, you want to get smaller so maybe you're quicker, but that's the thing. You went smaller, you still didn't generate any good offense, and you just gave up. I mean, that Mads, when you talk about where that they would just throw the ball up to the rim and then just get the rebound put back, they knew they could just throw it up there and almost like, I'm gonna go old school real quick. Moses Malone, just throw it up there, go get the rebound, put it back. I mean, that's literally what Duke was doing the whole game. Is like, look, if Louisville's going to play this small, we're going to just either threaten to throw it inside or throw it inside, and it completely just short circuited anything that Louisville wanted to do defensively. Even though I thought they did about as good a job as they could scrambling on defense, but if you're going to be that small, you've got to be quick enough to generate easy looks. And that right there, Roman, is what lost the game. Is Louisville just did not do a good enough job of generating easy looks. Like, I didn't really have an issue. I know a lot of people are kind of on Michael because of the shooting numbers. You go 1 for 13 from the field, 1 of 7. But I thought his shot selection, I thought his aggressiveness, especially in the first half, was good. I thought he was going to the rim. I thought he was trying to finish. There were a few opportunities where I thought there could have been foul calls that weren't. But I thought that he was doing a good job of being diverse in his offense. It didn't feel like he was hunting threes. Now, once the game got out of hand and you're down 20, 22 points, then you're just trying to hunt the big home run hit to get back into the game. So I
Before
don't
they
really,
got like that, we were turning the ball over and missing layups.
yeah,
Taking bad shots at the rim. That was,
yeah.
that we wasn't just 3-point hunting before we got back down to the bad deficit.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, Roman. Like when you talk about what is it gonna take to fix it or what can they do, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't have any faith that the coaching staff is going to do anything different. To me, when you come out and have the exact same game plan that you did the first time around, why would I expect that we're going to change anything moving forward? I think that if you're Louisville and you want to be successful, you're just going to have to hope that you don't run into the bad matchup in March because you're going to lose if you play that team. They are. They are at this. I mean, it was tough to not have Kanai tonight, and I think that'll help some. But at the end of the day, if you can't generate better offense inside the line against big athletic, you see these big athletic things. Just we saw it against Arkansas, we saw it against tonight against Duke twice. These teams that have these big athletic things, even honestly, even Stanford. Stanford had some big athletic wings. They were very physical on the pick and roll, physical at the point of attack, and Louisville really struggled with their offense. So, I think it kind of is what it is. I don't expect any big changes to happen. I don't even know if Coach Kelsey knows what to do to fix it. I think that the only thing that you can hope is that they get it right in the recruiting season after this year is over with, because I just don't have any faith that they'll make any changes.
Rashawn,
Take the
I'm not going to argue the whole first half point, but when it comes to the small lineup you guys talking about, I mean, I don't know. It kind of felt to me that was like his Norman Dale, my four are on the court type of thing. Because Frew and Ali looked like shit. I mean, Frew looked like he had no business wanting the court. And by the time they went small that lineup, we were already down 17 or 18, I think, at that point. I mean,
maybe even more than that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's what kind of felt to me was more of Coach Kelsey kind of saying, listen, if you're not going to go out there and try and get out rebounded by, their 6'2" white guy, I mean, then you're not going to play on the court.
Oh, he was frustrated with Frew. I mean, that when they called that timeout,
he had every right to
they
be.
gave
There
up
was
3
multiple
offensive
times.
rebounds. Oh, Frew looked absolutely scared.
And we had a hand on each of those. We touched it first on each of those.
Allie looked completely intimidated and looked very scared the whole night. There was one time he had an opportunity for an easy layup, and he flips the ball, misses the whole rim, just flipping the ball up at the rim when he's 3 feet from the basket. I don't know what's up with him, but Duke basically punked him out in both matchups, and he looked completely out of his depth.
I know you guys love the Z-Man, and he hustles out there, but I mean, it's like me guarding tractor trailer or something. I mean, it just really,
it's too small.
He can hustle all he wants, but Cameron Boozers did what he wanted. I mean, not that he doesn't do what he wants with pretty much anyone he goes against normally, more often than not. But I mean, he could just he was picking and choosing what he wanted to do, and they had, obviously, as you pointed out in the pre thing, again, as I did in the last game, attacked McNeely on every chance they had, especially in the first half. I mean, it was just
16 second chance points, fellas. You can't give up 16 second chance points to a team that doesn't normally, gain a whole lot from 3 like that. Too many second chance points from the 3-point line from how we allowed that tonight. That's going to be the difference. Always.
Like I said, if Louisville's going to win, it was going to win tonight. They were going to have to prevent second chance points and force Duke to beat them shooting threes. And Duke hit some threes regardless, but they still had their way and was able to get in the lane when they wanted, and they got his multiple opportunities when they wanted. I mean, the one, where Kelsey just goes berserk on Farouk before the timeout. I mean, that right there just was that entire game in a nutshell.
2 points to 10 points in the paint. That is absolutely ridiculous. 42 to 10 is unbelievable.
42.
And a lot again, I put some of that. Our blame is not Frew. I mean, Frew's not going to listen. You're not going to give him the ball. He's going to be Patrick Ewing on the low block. Okay, he's at best you're getting Chris Gent, but with at least the longer arms. Brown being passive and Duke gives some credit, but Duke just pushing them. We never once just played soft. I mean, we looked soft, we looked timid, and that's what happens. They were joking about in the broadcast. I agree. Put Johnny Kelsey out there at point guard.
Yeah, they're like, how do you get a shot? Maybe get Johnny Kelsey into the game. I thought it was cool that they said that Cameron Indoor.
But he wasn't going to play scared.
The fans in there were cheering him on in the shoot around earlier today. That's cool. But fellas, Mads, as we kind of round out to the last aspect here of this postgame show, no need to make this one of those long ones as there's not a lot of positive to get into. Any final closing thoughts, Mads? I'll let you go first here. Just kind of what you want to see going forward you've already said the changes you would like to see, but what's going to be your priority when you go? What do you think should be the priority with this team going forward when you go and watch them?
I think, it's just going to be when we get against teams that, we're not really, it's a difficult matchup for us, not to just let it affect how we play the entire rest of the game. Like, I feel like that we've done that in every single game, and that's why we've gotten down by so much, is particularly our defense. We let it affect our offense. Like, we don't get a stop, so then we go down and we just chuck a shot 2 seconds into the shot clock. It's like
middle school stuff.
Right. It's like, what is, I know we want to be fast paced, but you don't want to be fast paced to your own detriment, especially if you're having a lot of careless turnovers and things like that. Like, it would be good to slow the ball down a little bit, set a high pick and roll, try to kind of, run a play, because we know Pat Kelsey can draw up some plays. Draw up some more plays, especially for Isaac McNeely, because he is not a shot creator. If I see him with the ball trying to dribble and do all that stuff one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. The only 2 people that need to be really doing that are Conwell and Michael. Woolley.
Woolley struggled a little bit tonight.
He struggled tonight too. He had 4 turnovers. But again, Duke, just like Rashawn was saying earlier, they took their second half plan and applied it. As soon as the ball was tipped tonight, They extended their defense very far out. Michael was trying to call through up for screens damn near half court. They did everything they could to not let, Conwell catch the ball cleanly, to not let McNeely catch the ball cleanly. Every look that he was getting, he was leaning, he was kind of fading, he was, off one leg, what have you. I just think that, Duke it's a really difficult matchup, and they're a difficult matchup for anybody, for a lot of people. But at the same time, this team, I believe, is not 31 points worse than Duke, especially not with Michael Brown on the floor. Very uncharacteristic night for him. But at the same time, it's going to be February, so we've got to turn it around. And whether that's again, moving some people to the bench, or and Rashawn said, I mean, you are what you are until you aren't. And I mean, it's just like we talk about Jeff Brom dropping games to Stanford and Cal. Until you don't do that, you're going to continue to hear the narrative. So until you change and you actually beat a top 25 team on the road, or an elite team, I mean, the narrative is going to stay the same, unfortunately.
Rashawn?
Honestly, for me, I think the biggest thing that I'm going to watch moving forward is the coaches. I just want to watch the coaches. I want to see what they do differently, if anything. Like, this isn't on the players. When I'm talking about, because, I sent out a text talking about, or a tweet talking about the misevaluation of Kobe Rogers, the misevaluation of Zoo, the misevaluation of Case and Pryor. The decisions to bring these guys in, that's not a reprimand on those players and their abilities. That's more of a reprimand on the coaches thinking that these guys were good enough to play at this level. And right now, I don't think they are. I mean, you aren't getting anything. We've seen too many times where even guys like Adrian Woolley and Isaac McNeely are giving you nothing for long stretches. And this is not this happened once. This has happened a lot of times. So the biggest thing is this. I need to watch the coaches. I need to see if they make any sort of adjustments. And I think the biggest pressure point for Louisville now is when I look at the rest of the schedule, you have a very, you should be able, Louisville after this game, they have SMU, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, NC State, Baylor, SMU again on the road, Georgia Tech. You should be able to win all those games, honestly. I'm just going to be real with you. You should be able to win all those games. Even that road game at SMU, I know that's a quad one game. You should win that game. And I expect that they should win that game. So I don't think it's, people that are talking about, Kelsey needs to go and this the job is too big. That's a lot of overreaction. I think that this is still a very good team. I just think that this team, there are some matchups that Louisville's just plainly not going to win unless they just have a freak shooting night. And it kind of is what it is. So I'll continue to watch this game. I feel like I know who this Louisville team is. I feel like I know what games they'll win. I feel like I know what games they'll lose. So basically, I'm going to just be watching the coaching staff to see if they do anything different, if they add any new wrinkles. Does Case and Pryor rise from the grave and become a contributing member of this team again? That's kind of what I'm watching. Like, I feel like I know what this Louisville team is now. So there is no more mystery. There is no more what's the next tweak or the next thing. It's all about, okay, fellas, take care of your business, win the games that you can, get the best seed possible, and pray for a nice draw in March. That's where I'm at.
Trevor?
I think I need gambling advice from Rashawn if he knows what he thinks he knows over there. That's first of all, I didn't think that. Second, you mentioned turnovers by Woolley. I mean, the one where he chicken winged on the offensive foul turnover, that was so beautiful. That just made me flashbacks to my middle school days because that was me, Adrian Dantley style, doing that hook. Before it got that was a thing of beauty. Adrian Dantley, AD, somewhere was blushing watching that play. Lastly, I agree with what kind of Rashawn said when he mentioned the schedule because there's no one on the schedule Louisville shouldn't be. And this, I kind of get a feeling I agree with him. Like, I know who this team is as well. And I mean, if tonight made you mad, you're not going to be happy a couple times down the road as well. You might want to, because tonight wasn't this Louisville team though.
Sananda Frew made me mad tonight. I wasn't mad at anything other than Sananda Frew tonight.
Tonight
the turnovers.
Tonight wasn't. I mean, I know. I think I know this Louisville team, and unfortunately, it needs to get over having a glass jaw right now. because that's what it does. And they're taking punches against these teams that are as good or better, and they're going down like Peter McNeely, and they can't that cannot happen. And I don't think you saw it as much last year because last year's team wasn't as talented as this team. Yeah, I felt maybe it was a little bit more stone jawed.
You had Chucky though. You had Chucky,
and that's a great point. We talked about this last year multiple times on the show. Is how this team was going to, because Pat Kelsey wasn't a defensive guy, yet this team was so good defensively last year, basically because of one gentleman, and that'd be Chucky. But that said, the rest of the team is, I mean, what's on the schedule, this team should should be making everyone happy. They should win most of these games. There's really not a team here short of, I'd have to go look at up and down, but not one that really sticks out to me like your Arkansas or your Tennessee. Or now, granted, you lost to Stanford. You shouldn't do that because Stanford's not as good as you are as well. But it was even as a road game. But that game was also officiated horribly. But that's neither here nor there. The rest of the schedule should look good for Louisville. As long as
at North Carolina, Trev, that's the only one that's left where you have a lot of size. They have a 7'2" guy in VSAR. They have Caleb Wilson.
That's at North Carolina.
That's at North Carolina.
Yeah,
that's
Louisville
the only
probably
game.
not going to win that game.
Yeah, outside of that, they should win every other game.
And I think Caleb Wilson's a little overrated personally. But
Baylor's ass, but they're Baylor's ass, but they're the biggest team on our schedule.
Well, and I'll say that I think we need more of against these teams. The best way to try to exploit a lot of size is to put these bigs in the pick and roll. And I feel like we haven't done that enough. Like,
they tried that to get tonight, but Duke just punched them in the mouth.
Duke is a little bit different because their caliber of athlete is just a bit different across the board.
The person switching can defend you. Yeah,
right, exactly. So I think when you get in a situation like that, I think we should try definitely more to put these bigs into these high pick and rolls, force them to make the decision whether or not to switch, and then if the lane opens up, take it. If the shot opens up, take it, because we're going to take a lot of threes and stuff no matter what. So if you're open over top of a screen for a second, shoot it.
Well, Mads, just like you said, like when you're going that pick and roll, you should be able to expect that Michael, Conwell, Woolley, and even Kobe should be able to, on that pick and roll, drive that ball right into the hip of the big man, force that foul, force that contact, and that's what we haven't seen all year long. I mean, Michael's been the only guy
and Terrence had it.
Melco does it. He was solid in the Saturday game. He just did not play well on the road in Duke. I mean, that's the positive thing to be optimistic about tonight is that if you're going to see Duke again, it's probably Elite Eight or Final Four. So I mean, at least we're getting ass raped at that point in the tournament and not in the first round.
I mean, I want to see him in the ACC tournament if we can. I want that test again. You need to be able to beat them if you want to be the coach at Louisville. It's now gotten to near unacceptable level. You can't afford another loss to Duke, or no one's going to think you'll ever be able to get the job done against them.
I mean, again, that's the worst. I mean, it has to be official. I don't know. Is that statistically Kelsey's worst loss here?
Yeah.
I mean, that game felt like the first 15 minutes of an SVU episode. I mean, it was that brutal. I mean, it was not cool what they did to us. It was very unchill.
Yeah, the second half was very, very, very unchill.
I mean, it was. It was like, Jesus, I'm trying to quit smoking.
We went into half down 10, Rashawn. It was 10 points at half, man.
38-28. 38-28 at the half.
And I was thinking, we always get up on them. Let's see if we can come from behind on them. And it didn't work out.
Conwell hit that step back three. We went up 26-25. And
yeah, Duke said, we done playing.
You trying to embarrass me on
really?
Yeah, and then the last 5 minutes of the game didn't hit a shot either.
You ever seen the movie Great White Hype? With Keenan,
exactly.
When he comes in out of shape and he hits him, he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Nah, man." He whoops his ass.
Yeah,
that's what that Damon Wade did us.
That's literally what happened. Yes,
it's a good movie, by the way.
All right,
comedy for those out there.
Trevor Kelsey, Rashawn Myers, Madison from the Power 10. Trevor Kelsey from the Real Spiel Podcast, and Rashawn Myers from the Wake Up 502 Big X Sports Radio side of things.
St. Matthews.
This has been the Real Spiel Postgame Show. We thank you guys for listening. We don't have much to add. We've given our thoughts on what we thought happened and why, and now we've given our thoughts on what we think kind of could or should happen going forward. So hope you guys liked what you saw. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy. Send this to your friends. Send this to your grandparents. Send this to someone you know who's debating the same things we were tonight. Let them get their thoughts in as well. But, fellas, Madison, thank you all so much for joining me, chatting about the Cardinals in that loss to Duke. We will be going and trying to do this pretty much as we can going forward. Madison, new member to the Real Spiel Podcast organization team
Thank
here,
you.
going to be doing some things on the post-game show for us. Going to be kind of running and operating it going forward, and pretty much the same vibe that we just had right now, except Madison will bring us in individually and chat with us individually on some post-game shows going forward. So I think that'll be cool. But Trevor, Kelsey, Rashawn Myers, thank you guys so much for joining up as well. And to the, I think I was 80 that I viewed last I looked here. Let's go see where we're at now. To the
Am I the only one it feels like with Indiana?
106 of you in here.
And Nebraska now being good in basketball, like having a sports apocalypse. Like it's just like this is the end.
I still, when I say out loud Indiana football national champions, I have a Matrix moment. I'm like, wait a minute.
NIL's changing everything.
Believe it.
We're in the
NIL is changing everything.
And meanwhile, Nebraska's got one of the best teams in college basketball.
They're overrated. They're overrated. They're going to lose.
They're going to win the national championship. And I mean, what the hell, man? It's just dogs are playing with cats. It's just
I just hate Midwestern basketball.
I hate it.
You hate Midwestern basketball.
Shit's terrible.
What do you got against Midwestern basketball, man?
Screen, cut, pass. You niggas dribble it all, damn.
Come on. It's like 1960s ball, man. Come on.
He hates Midwestern basketball.
What's wrong with this?
Hey, it's fundamentally sound, bro.
You're supposed to be on the podcast right now. You're not supposed to do
fundamentally sound. Yeah.
Nobody's supposed to know this.
Sneaky athletic. Fundamentally sound and sneaky athletic.
Sneaky athletic. A bunch of coaches on the court. You know how it is.
And it's funny. I hate watching it, but that's the way I play out there. I'm out there cutting, screening, not complaining, not saying a word, not calling for the ball, not doing any dribble moves.
He hates it.
I hate watching it. I hate watching it because y'all are better than this. Y'all are supposed to be better than this. Y'all play like how my buddies do down at the rec right now. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Watching a church league game.
God, church league from a 35-year-old church league dudes that all went to St. X and Trinity. That's like what it's like watching right there. But you've exposed it. Now everyone knows. But Rashawn, Trevor, Madison, thank you all so much for chatting with you here for tonight. And we'll be back with the RSP Postgame Show, same crew that we've got now for the next one, except Mads will be operating things and running things for the next one. And until next time, we will see you here on the Real Spiel Podcast.